Do you know how to give advice? I think that so many people want to give advices to people, but they do not realize how complicated the topic of advice is. And so we need to answer the questions by ourselves. If that person needs advice, and when is the best time to give an advice? Because one thing that we really need to understand, that if you want to give advice, most time we need to wait until the person asks for advice. Because if you give advice without them asking, they will not accept most time the advice, because they will think that you're pushing your agenda to them. They will think that you are not helping them, but you're just hurting them, because they think that you do not understand them. So that means you need to wait for advice, or sometimes you can ask, are you looking for different perspective in your problem? Because maybe you're looking for different solutions, different perspectives. But at the end of the day, we need to wait until they ask for advice, because maybe they don't see you as an expert. That's why they don't ask. Or maybe they have a huge ego, and because they have a huge ego, they do not ask for help. They don't ask for support, and they don't ask for advice. So that maybe if they don't ask for advice, maybe we need to support to increase their self-esteem. And that means that we can support by giving advice, by not giving advice, but giving them a book to read, seminar to listen, and of course then you share what you learn from that seminar or learn from that book. That means that you are sharing what you learn, and that is not in a way to helping someone else to learn from that lesson, because now you added third person. That means that this is that person is said to me, and that's what I learned. And basically your friend, your person that you care about, could learn the same lesson because you're sharing what you learn. I think that was one of the best approach when you're giving advice, because you sharing what you learned. So that means you don't teach them, but by sharing what you learn, you're able to give that advice not in a invasive way. Now, a lot of times when people come to you and ask for advice, we need to realize that a lot of times they come to you not to ask for advice, but what they come from. They come for validation. That means they already made decision, but they want to ask you and for advice. But if you will say that was correct, that means that they will feel good about themselves. But if they will say that it's no, that means they will feel a little bit worse, but still they will go through their decision, but they will not have that validation as they were looking for. Now, advice is a very interesting thing, because a lot of times people have a lot of opinions. And of course they bring those opinions on people. And because opinion is one of the cheapest commodity on earth, everyone is giving those opinions. Everyone is giving those opinions. But when you think about advices, I love saying that God created woman second because he didn't want to get any advice. And that's a lot of times is that a lot of women don't want to give unsolicited advice, and I think that they need to be very careful of doing that, because a lot of men don't want advice, they just want support. And I truly believe that if you want to support someone, so that means that we always need to help people to make better decisions. So that means you don't need to make a decision and advice for them, but you help them to grow and equip that they could make the best decision. So that means when you have the problem, so that means you help them to think it through. So that means if they will take one solution, what that one action could lead to. Because sometimes they are not able, because they are in the problem at the present, they have a difficulty to think about the future. So what is your, as a helper, advisor, role is really to help them to think about the future. So that means if you will do that one activity, how that will end up in 5-10 years. If you will do this activity, how that will end up. If you will do this activity, how that will end up. So that means when you are helping him think it through those different activities and where that potential could lead, now he will be able to make a better decision. He will be equipped by those roles, by those activities, because most time when people make decisions, they think about, okay, if we will do this activity, how we will be in a month, 2, maybe a year, but they don't think how that one activity will lead in 10, 20, 30 years, because most time when they think about long-term decisions, a lot of times what makes sense in 2 years doesn't make sense in 30. So that means we need to be very careful what should we listen to as well, because a lot of times we need to listen to people who are really able to think about long-term future, and we need to ask people for advice who are highly believed people. That means they have fruits on the tree, they understand the topic that we speak about. And a second part is that we need to listen for people who do not have personal agenda by giving you an advice. I hope you'll choose to win, and see you tomorrow.